And welcome back to Music Free Static. It's great to have you here, and I'm going to be talking today about something that has bugged me for a while, because what better use for a podcast is there to complain about movie theaters and the movie theater experience? Okay, now, I've talked about this off and on stream, but I thought it would be a good idea to talk about one of the reasons I don't see most of these movies when they first come out. You know, because I do all of these really late movie reviews, right? I reviewed Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, but I reviewed it when it came out on Disney Plus. Because there was no way I was going to go see it in the theater. And the reason is I don't like the movie theater experience. It's not good. It's especially down where I'm at. Now, let me make this clear. I actually like seeing the movies on the big screen with the awesome sound. The actual act of seeing the movie in that environment. Someone say the way the movies were meant to be seen. Maybe that's true. But it is cool seeing it on the big screen with the awesome sound, okay? That's great. My problem with movie theaters is everybody else. Right? If I could buy out a theater, that would be good. I could do that. You know, and watch a movie that way? Sure. Okay. But my deal with movies or movie theaters is that I want to see the movie. Right? That's why I'm going to the theaters. I'm going there to see the movie. I'm not going there to listen to everybody else. I don't like crowds, for one thing. I'm a little bit claustrophobic, and crowds really boost my anxiety. Okay? Not enough to stop. I mean, I've gone to theaters, but it's not enjoyable. Okay? It's not. I feel like I've got to overcome my own anxieties to even enjoy the movie. Okay? But the problem is everybody else. Now, this isn't universal, and I'll get to that. But let me tell you a little bit about my experience seeing Spider-Man: No Way Home, which was the last movie I saw in a theater. So we went to see Spider-Man. Okay, great. And it was a good movie. We ended up getting in there a little bit late. So I actually missed like the first 15 minutes of the movie, which kind of sucked. But I mean, the first 15 minutes were great. The fact that I got there kind of sucked. You know how it is. But Spider-Man: No Way Home was a movie that really catered to, I don't know that I want to call it fan service, but in a lot of ways it kind of was. Right? Because the whole premise of the movie is Doctor Strange tries to help Spider-Man, tries to help Peter Parker so that people forget that he's Spider-Man. Okay. Peter screws up the spell, and now everybody who knows he's Spider-Man is showing up in his version of New York City. It was kind of cool, right? This is the fan servicey part. They pulled in characters and actors and stuff from previous Spider-Man movies. Not just MCU movies, but Spider-Man movies going back to Spider-Man by starring Tobey Maguire, directed by Sam Raimi. Okay, which was an excellent movie. That series was actually really good. The third one was a little shaky, which is too bad because I'd really like to see a really good Spider-Man Venom story, but that wasn't it. Anyway, this is not that review. The problem is, it turned Spider-Man: No Way Home, I'm not going to say into a cameo fest, because that wasn't quite what it is, but anytime there was a character from a previous movie, the crowd had to cheer. I don't know why, and they cheered long and loud anytime somebody showed up, especially the two other Spider-Men. But anytime And if the Green Goblin said a line that had been in a previous movie or whatever, oh yeah, they cheered for that too. It was so loud, so obnoxious. It's like, come on, I just want to hear the movie, right? And this has been an ongoing theme recently. Apparently, this is a recent thing. Because when I went to movies growing up, oh yeah, people, we laughed together at the fun parts, and often there'd be you'd get the collective oohs and ahs when something cool happened. But just somebody saying a line or a character reveal, but just, no. People say, okay, cool, we'll move on. And I can't stand this. I don't like that experience. Now, I say that, and it's true, but I also know that there are movie theaters that will not put up with that sort of thing. Like Alamo Drafthouse, I think, for example, is one of those places that they don't allow kids because they don't want that disruption. And they have some very strict rules about how you interact with the movie. The catch is Alamo Drafthouse is also a restaurant, and there's some other things too. And the fact that the nearest Alamo Drafthouse is nowhere near close enough to me to actually even consider going to one. Okay. So I don't like the movie theater experience. Now, I remember it was a few years ago, obviously, because I went and saw Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. I took my kids, it was Christmas Day, and we went and saw Star Wars in a movie theater up in Arvada, Denver area, somewhere up there. And it was nice, in reclining seats. Now, we were in the very back row, because that was the only place I could get seats for all, so 5 of us or 6 of us that were going to see the movie. And that was a pretty good experience. The sound was great. We could hear everything. The crowd was respectful. But man, I don't know if my theater is just abnormal, or if the theater we watched things in up in Denver were. But it was not. It was like night and day. And to be honest, I said if I could watch a movie with a nice, respectful audience, I'm down for that. Okay. Heck, there were lines that I could hear in the movie theater that I can't really hear at home, unless I'm watching the movie at home with headphones. To use Rise of Skywalker as an example, there's a scene when Rey is resisting Palpatine's lightning blast with a lightsaber. She's holding it up, blocking the lightsaber, and she hears past Jedi urging her on. And you hear Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker, you hear Luke, you hear Ahsoka, you hear Obi-Wan, I think you even hear Kanan from Rebels, and a couple of other Jedi that we've seen once or twice in the movies or cartoons. Okay. It was really cool. I can't really hear that dialogue when I'm listening at home because I don't tend to turn the TV up quite that loud. But the reality is I'm a lot more comfortable at home when I'm watching a movie. It's a lot nicer to sit on my couch, kick back in the recliner. Yes, my couch has reclining seats, which is cool. And, maybe I get to sit and pet the cat, and I can go grab the snacks whenever I want to. It's like, oh yeah, I'll pause this. I'll go hit the bathroom and come back. It's just a much more enjoyable experience for me to just watch movies at home. Now, I know this isn't for everybody, and I'll tell you, seeing the Lord of the Rings movies in the theaters was an experience, right? Watching the Charge of the Rohirrim in I think that ended up in the third movie. It's like, where did they break the movies in the story? Watching The Ride of the Rohirrim with that cavalry charge was just amazing. Watching Helm's Deep in the theaters was amazing, right? It doesn't quite hit the same way watching it on my TV, even though I've got a 40-something inch TV, and even that seems like small, right? But it just doesn't quite hit the same way. But the ability just to not deal with all of the garbage that I've had to deal with going to the theaters, right, makes it very hard for me to want to go to the theaters. And then you add on top of it the cost of actually going to see the movie, right? And this is, I don't go to a movie unless I'm really sure I'm going to enjoy it, right? I don't randomly say, hey, I'm going to go see Barbie or Oppenheimer, which both dropped this weekend as I'm recording, I think. And I have no idea if they're good movies or not. I've heard good things about both of them. But they're not movies that I want to go spend $10 just on the ticket to go see. Now, Star Wars, I love Star Wars. I've watched all of the saga movies in the theater. I didn't see Solo, I didn't see Rogue One in the theaters, but all of the saga movies I went and saw in the theaters because I love Star Wars. But I can't justify the extra cost when I'm just going to see the movie again and go buy it when it comes out. And all of the movies that I want to see, Star Wars, Marvel, all that stuff, they're hitting Disney Plus in 45 days anyway. Right? It's like, hey, I want to see, I wanted to see Ant-Man. I wanted to see Black Panther. Kind of want to see Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, to be fair, I am not the biggest Guardians of the Galaxy fan. Were the movies fun? Yes. But they're not really my favorite of the MCU movies. I have no problem waiting. Oh yeah, I can wait a couple of months to see Guardians of the Galaxy when it hits Disney Plus. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. And I've stopped caring. I was like, oh, spoilers? Nah, just whatever. Heck, I listen to spoiler reviews. I'm not going to see the movie for 2 months, but I still listen to the spoiler review. So, and partly because it's 2 months later and I'm not going to remember what's going on, right? And I'm already paying for the streaming service, right? If I went and saw one movie a month, that's basically what I'm paying for Disney Plus. So I don't know why I'd want to pay that cost again, right? I just can't justify movie theaters and the whole movie theater experience. Okay, so here's another thing to consider. As I'm recording this, there is a strike going on in Hollywood. The Writers Guild and SAG-AFTRA, the Actors Guild, are currently on strike. Now, I don't know all of the details. I don't pay that much attention to them. But I do know that one of the issues that has come up for both unions, which I think is a perfectly valid concern, is how they get paid for stuff that goes to streaming. So backing up just a little bit, the way a lot of contracts were written were such that when your product is played on TV or in a theater, you get residuals. You get some amount of money back for that, right? So I remember listening to, it was Rob Paulson, who was a fairly prolific voice actor. He voiced Pinky in Pinky and the Brain and Yakko Warner and half the characters from my childhood. Okay, he's been doing a lot of work for a long time. And he's good at it. And he talked about, walking through the house one day and he saw his kid was watching cartoons. He's like, oh, he watched for a sec just to see if he was in it, to see if he was getting paid, right? Because that's one of the ways that these actors were able to actually make a living and the writers as well, for that matter, to make a living off their career, is that they could spend the time, they could do the job, right? Voice characters for a cartoon, act in a TV show, act in a movie, whatever. When it aired, they'd get the residuals and they'd have a regular paycheck coming in from those shows while they tried to find other work. Okay. Because this is the thing with, especially with actors, but also writers, it's all contract work, right? They don't have regular jobs. Like most people, you go to work, you do your 40 and you come home and it's just routine. That's just how it happens. Actors don't do that. They work, maybe they often can work long hours, sometimes in very uncomfortable circumstances for 3 months, however long it takes to shoot a movie or to record a TV series or whatever. And then they're unemployed. And they're kind of hoping that the residuals from their previous jobs provide them income while they're looking for new work. The problem that they have is that streaming has totally upended this. Coming back to my movie theater problem, right? I don't like to go to theaters. I watch things on streaming. Well, there's a very defined cost for paying the actors. How much did the movie do? We paid you your initial salary. Most of them get some sort of points against the movie. And great, the movie's out of the theaters, and then what? Well, if it airs on TV, they get a certain amount of money. If it goes to streaming, they get nothing? Almost nothing? Right? And I'm not an industry insider. I watch movies, I watch TV. I don't pay a huge amount of attention to the contract details. So if you want that, go find something else. But I don't think my views on this are entirely unique in that a lot of people, I think, are choosing to stay home, watch things on streaming, and not go to the theaters. And that's going to change the environment. I talked about this years ago. Streaming was just starting to become a thing, and there was a thought that, hey, we're going to stream movies that are first-run movies. You could pay extra and just see it at home rather than go to the theater. And I was very excited about this possibility. And honestly, it is, when the pandemic hit, we got to see that reality, right? And honestly, I think a lot of people really liked it. Streaming has changed the world. And as I look at how I like how it really benefits my chosen lifestyle, right? I don't want to go to theaters. Things are coming to streaming fast, right? You used to have to wait almost 6 months for something to come out on VHS or on DVD. And heck, now it's like a month and a half. And it's on Disney Plus, or it's on Max, or it's on, Paramount Plus. I love it. And I see no reason at this point to ever go see another movie in the theaters. Now, that's just not to say that I won't. It's not like I'm boycotting the theaters, but the experience I've had recently in seeing movies basically tells me that, yeah, I don't need to do this anymore. And, the thing about movies is like, they're expensive, and they expect the big ticket dollars to come back from a lot of people seeing the movies, right? It's weird. Like, if you get an MCU movie, and it doesn't make $1 billion, a lot of people think it failed. Now, not all Marvel movies cost enough that they need to make $1 billion to make back their money, but they get expensive. I think the latest Indiana Jones movie, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, cost something like $300 million. Now, a lot of that was special effects because of de-aging Harrison Ford for the first segment of the movie, I guess. Again, haven't seen it. I will, but I didn't go to the theaters for it. Even though I love Indiana Jones. I watched a lot of Indy growing up. And a lot of these movies they're costing more and more and more, and they need the ticket sales. But if the theater experience is bad, and the cost of theater tickets keeps going up, a lot of people are just going to decide not to go. That's the joy of capitalism. You get to choose whether or not how you want to spend your money. The incentive for a lot of people, and especially me, I can't speak for anybody other than me, but I can't justify that cost anymore. Why would I spend money for an experience I don't enjoy, even though I really want to see the movie? I can't justify it. I'll spend the money on streaming and I'll just watch it at home. So, yeah, so if any of you wonder, why the heck do you do really late movie reviews instead of going to see the movie when it first comes out? Because I don't want to be in that situation. Right? I don't want to be in the theater. Let me know what you think about the theater experience. Have they been good? Do you like the crowds? Do you rather just watch things at home? Let me know. You can drop in the comments on YouTube or join my Discord or whatever. We can talk movies. I love talking movies. So until next time, be excellent to each other. And this is Music Free Static signing off.